And so, it was really just the beginning of it all.
Sorry, I think we have a technical issue. Just bear with us.
like to be connected now? Yes, okay, so...
Now you're connected, yeah.
Thank you. Okay. Apologies for technical difficulties here. And yes, so I had begun to share some of the coming and going and the challenges that we meet, and just to be able to show you how we can face those challenges just by giving an example. So very suddenly Madhuban opened up, we realized we could go, and there were some of us who made the decision to go quite quickly, and I was one of them. And of course, at that time, we still had to have a PCR test. And because I had this very long delay in Dubai, and we had 72-hour period in which to get there, and for the PCR test to be valid, I had to have the PCR test the day before before I flew, not beforehand. Well, at about 8 or so that night, it came back positive. And I knew absolutely proof positive that I was not positive. And I took a chance. I didn't accept it. So you see, so the drama was that it came back positive. Now, I had to be proactive because my aim, I had an aim, I had an objective, and that was to get to Madhuban. And so I had to now start that proactive energy. And I thought, well, let me take a chance. Let me phone the lab. I had no idea whether the lab would be open at night or not. And sure enough, I discovered that it's open 24 hours a day. And I, at that point, said, look, this is an incorrect. It's a false positive. And I think we all know that there are many false positives. And suddenly, I found that everything was being set in motion for me. That there was a very helpful soul who said, come in first thing in the morning. We'll make sure that you're the first one in. We'll get the sample to the lab immediately. And, well, we'll see, negative or positive. And so I had to be in that frame of mind where I'll accept whatever happens. I've put the wheels in motion, and now I know that I will have that be retested. And if it is positive again, well, then I have to accept that result. And I'll have to delay my trip. Anyway, I had a little bit of a problem in that if I was positive, I had to cancel my ticket or I was going to lose all the money. And so I was connecting with the lab and the travel agent. And the travel agent said, well, look, you have to cancel your ticket by 10:30 if you are positive. Anyway, at a certain point, I phoned the lab to say, what's happening with the test? And they said, oh, look, it only went in at 8:44. It takes 2 hours. So it will only be conclusive at 10:44, which meant some minutes after I was meant to cancel my flight. So I was back to the travel agent and said, can we just prolong it a little bit? She said, look, latest, 10:45. So I literally had 1 minute between the results of the test and having to cancel my flight. And at 10:44, I hadn't heard from them. I phoned them and they said it's negative. So I didn't have to cancel my flight. I just had to check in. So this was, how fine it was. But it just really showed me how don't take it as a fait accompli. We can step in and activate a process, use our energy in a really worthwhile way. and we'll get results from that. And we will open up an ability to see our inner strength, our ability, because what I've really seen very, very deeply and profoundly, at this point in time, is that we are connected. We are internally connected to God, to the higher power, to our supreme self. And we need to actually access that. And we can only access that if we're concentrating, if we are deliberately connecting to that point. And if we are connected to that point, there is absolutely no question about it. Things will work beneficially for us. And I can remember many, many years ago reading a Muli which said, God is proving himself through you, so he cannot afford to let you down. And for us to really comprehend that, we have to practice it. So at that point of having to get on that flight, get to Madhuban, I had to connect to that point and enable the collective energy field, the inner power, the divine power to move forward and move ahead. So I had experiences on the return journey as well. And that was that the flight was delayed in Dubai. I was flying Emirates. And it meant that my connection was missed. So Emirates then had to put us up in a hotel, rebook a flight, which of course they did very, very early in the morning. And just through some absolute shutting down of the intellect, a few of us missed that flight simply because of a little bit of confusion in the way of the layout of the airport. And we all felt complete idiots. Anyway, I then had to say, okay, what is in this? There is no situation which exists which isn't beneficial to not only the self, but perhaps to others as well. And I was with a young girl who didn't have much time to spend with her family. She was only going to be here for a week. And of course, she had every right to be a little bit more distressed than I. And we went to the Emirates office, which we found way out somewhere in the airport. But again, with the same, that we must get on a flight, the earliest possible flight, and get back to Port Elizabeth, which is the airport that I need to use. So when we got to Emirates, they said, well, we can alter we can get you onto another flight, but there's only one seat left in the whole of the Saturday. And, immediately I had the thought, this is nonsense. Of course, there are more seats left, but they were looking at a particular aircraft. Anyway, we then had to pursue this whole thing. And one of the things was that Emirates said, and now you're going to have to go and collect your luggage. Well, when we went to collect our luggage, we were absolutely blocked. We could not find where, and we didn't go out of our way. We just said, there's no way out. We can't get there. We went back to Emirates and met somebody else who said, no, of course you don't have to go there. You have to go to the previous aircraft that you were meant to be on, which we did. And lo and behold, we said, we need to collect our luggage. They said, absolutely, we've got it. We'll fetch it for you. And sure enough, it arrived absolutely perfectly. But by this time, we had also booked ourselves onto another flight. And half the flight was empty. So it just showed how, that when you have that determination, when you have that faith, and of course I was remembering, I was connecting. That was the whole essence of it. Let me see what's going to happen. Let me watch the drama. What is in this? Where is the benefit? And during that morning, I gave the course to that young girl. So instead of it being a cost, an extra cost, it became an investment. So it's just what these stories are telling us is that there is the drama. These events are going to take place. But within it, what can we do to emerge that inner power within ourselves? And really, truthfully, if we have that connection, we're able to be very calm, very easy, very simple, very honest, and emerge a lot of inequalities. And so for those of you who are participating in this morning Rise and Shine, you might like to just take a pen and paper and write down whatever qualities or virtues emerged during those two incidences. And this will increase your powers of observation. And the next time that you have a challenge, write down what qualities and virtues emerged in you when you met that challenge. So we accept on one level and we don't accept on the other. We accept that this has happened. We acknowledge that there's benefit in whatever is happening for us, because basically we're creating a situation. I can say that it was my lack of observation, my perhaps tiredness, fatigue, or whatever it might have been at that time, that disabled my intellect and stopped me from going actually to the right gate. It seemed that we were at the end of the row of gates, and the flight said Port Elizabeth. And so, this was the actual confusion. There was another flight to Port Elizabeth at a gate that one couldn't see. So, yet I was still at fault because I should have checked the number, which I didn't. I just saw Port Elizabeth and said I'm at the right gate. So, yeah. So who created that situation? Myself. And so we're not going to create any situation that we can't wake up the hero within ourselves. A hero never emerged from an easy life. The hero only ever emerges from challenges and conflicts and confusions and anything else that we might have to meet. And so at that point, I have to apprehend the invisible. It's not apparent, but the minute I start to participate and become active in that situation, I can start to see what I've been gifted with, and how to emerge that inner power, that spiritual being, Yeah, so and overcome all the limitations that are imposed upon us from this material world. Uh, so I see Belinda has joined us there. Belinda, Om Shanti, good morning.